So if you have been following along with me, then you have noticed that we have already created SageMaker endpoint. We have created a S3 bucket. We have created our Lambda function. We have tested that Lambda function is able to fetch the image out of the prompt and able to save it into S3 bucket. So our next step as per the diagram is to create our AWS API gateway. So AWS API gateway will be the endpoint, that is something that React application will call with the prompt. And what we will do is we will create a REST API that can be called from the JavaScript library. So we will create a REST API, and we will also create the resource where we will give the name. And then in our next video, I will show you how to invoke the Lambda from the API gateway. So let's go ahead and create the API gateway for the REST API. So first we will go to the console and select for the API gateway, and we will go ahead and create the new API. So here I will search for the REST API, which is a public one, and I will click on the build. So once you click on the build, it will open the REST API form for you, where you can go ahead and select the first radio button, which says that it has to be REST API, not a WebSocket. And second, we will also say that it is a new API, and we will give a name stable D, and then we will create that API. Next, we will select the action and go ahead and click on the create resource. Create resource will give a name, so I will give the name as stable D, and then I will also enable the API gateway CORS, which is cross origin resource sharing, and I will enable it so that I can test it out and then hit on the create resource. In our next video, I will show you how API gateway will call the AWS Lambda function. So stay tuned.